Bring the left leg forward. Now you could do that from standing if you wanted. Now I'm keeping the legs nice and straight, squeezing the hips together. I stretch the abdomen down over my left thigh. And then move the 2 feet back, coming into down dog for a moment. Release onto your hands and knees and just sit on your heels, or sit whatever way you like if sitting like this isn't that comfortable. So now is the time actually, if you want to press pause and you're loud now, you can press pause and do headstand for 2 or 3 minutes, whatever you're able to do. Because I know some of you who are watching this may have a Shirshasana headstand practice, so off you go and do it. Please do it against the wall, because it's a bit safer. Now, those of you who can't do a headstand on their own, or you're not confident doing it at home or in your own practice, I'm just going to show you a version of it you can do, an accessible version for all of you. So you're coming onto the floor, you interlace the fingers. You all know how to interlace the fingers. What you need to do here is you get your base right. So my base, or the base for Shirshasana headstand, is your hands, okay? And your wrists and your lower arm. That's your base. So that's what's on the floor. So what you do with your base, it's like all the standing poses, what you do with your feet is really important. For this inversion, Shirshasana, your base is your hands, your wrist, your lower arm, really important. So you place the hands down onto the mat. The elbows are shoulder width apart. I'm trying, now I know when you interlace the fingers, say my left little finger is at the bottom. It's because of that, it's not that easy to press your wrists into the floor, particularly the right wrist. If your left little finger is at the bottom, it's not that easy to get your right wrist to press into the mat. But you're going to try. You put as much effort into pressing the right wrist down as you do the left wrist, because the left wrist will go easier into the mat because of the position or the interlace of your fingers. Now, if you've interlaced the other way around with your right little finger on the bottom, then the sensation is slightly different. So pressing the wrists into the floor, or into your mat, my fingers are interlaced. There's a little cup there, so I'm not putting my head in there. I'm looking more or less at this little triangle between my hands and my elbows. I'm looking in the middle of that triangle. And then my knees are, maybe I'll bring them in a little bit more. Bring the knees together if you want extra work, extra challenge perhaps. Obviously keep them apart if not. And then I hike my hips up in the air and I'm on my tiptoes. Now what I don't want to do is sink into the floor. I have to feel like everything is lifting up from my heels, I'm on my tiptoes. So I'm actually lifting up the balls of my feet, the arches of my feet, my heels. So that's what happens if you want to look and see when I'm sinking, how I look, and when I'm lifting. So I've got to lift up through the legs, lift the shoulders up, and my shoulders, I'm just coming down to show you what I mean. My shoulder here, this shoulder and upper arm are perpendicular to the floor. So my elbow digs in, my shoulder is directly above it, and it's perpendicular. And that's the shape you make for headstand. So you lift up here now. So I do want to see the legs back here and, shaking all over the place. Press the wrists, press the lower arm, press the elbows, and lift. And again, the head, you don't want to crunch the back of the neck. So depending on what's going on in your upper back and your shoulders, it might affect how your head is. Don't crunch the back of the neck. If you need to look back at your knees, by all means do. Don't be looking into the middle of your triangle if you feel that it's really sore on your neck. So those of you who are already up in Shirshasana, stay up for a few more minutes. Those of you doing this preparatory stage, come down, have a little rest. Because it's harder work actually. It's almost harder work doing the preparation, this preparatory step, than it is the full step. So off you go again. Look at your hands, wrists pressed down, as much as possible. Lower arm presses into the mat, elbows dig into the mat, shoulders over the elbow, don't let them go beyond, they're directly over the elbow, and then you feel like you're lifting your shoulders away from your elbow. You lift your hips up really high, you're on your tiptoes, and breathe. And then release and come down. And stretch the arms forward, relax the shoulders, knees apart, have a little breather. Perfect. And then release and come up. So, now I've got two options for the last pose. If you have your own brick, you're going to use it. If you don't, you'll do the same work just without the brick. It's, marginally easier with the brick. Okay, so Setu Bandha, I'm lying flat on the mat. You might need to rearrange your little pigtail if you have one, ponytail. So I'm going to show you, first of all, without the block. So those of you who don't have the block, you can just go into it, feet flat. It's practically the same for the same actions without the block as with the block. So my feet are flat into the mat. Do I need to say what you do with the feet? They don't turn out. So all your 5 toes are facing straight ahead. Your feet, your knees and your hips are all roughly hip distance apart, not glued together. And really focus on what your feet are doing, because often when I teach this pose I have to walk around the class and adjust nearly everyone's feet. So be very aware of the 4 corners of your feet pressing into the mat. Make sure your toes are all pointing forward. Don't turn the toes in and the heels out. Stretch the toes forward and then slowly, or I have my hands in the air because I'm talking with my hands, but your hands are down on the floor. So dig the heels into the floor and then start to tuck the shoulder blades in towards each other like you tuck in the corners of your bed sheets. And as you tuck those shoulders in and under, you start to feel the back ribs, the thoracic spine lift high up in the air. Lift the hips up, lift the front of the pelvis towards the ceiling. Really get your height there. Now, if you've got the brick, this is where you can go onto your tiptoes and tuck the brick in under your tailbone, coming into Setu Bandha. I'm really tucking the shoulders in, stretching the arms down. You can grip the sides of the mat with your arms, straighten those arms, stamp the feet into the floor. What are your feet doing? What are your knees doing? Don't let the knees splay out. Good. Draw the shoulders down away from the back of the neck. The chin comes towards your chest, but not so much that your throat is all compressed. I mean, I'm still able to talk and I'm doing the pose. I'm not squashing my throat and my windpipe. I'm really working on lifting my hips, stretching fronts of thighs. So I draw my kneecap back towards my hips. Imagine someone's pushing your kneecaps back towards your hip bones. Shoulder blades down away from the back of the neck. And now you can interlace the fingers. If you've got the brick, interlace the fingers behind your brick and reach down for your heels with your interlaced fingers, or hook the thumbs. Now, if you've no brick, it's much harder to stay up in this a long time. You can only stay up in Setu Bandha for a very short time without a brick. So come down and have a rest. But if you've got the brick, you're going to stay up. Breathe deeply. Now for the crack, if you want to have any, grab your ankles. Now I know when I grab my ankles, or even if you really can't grab your ankles, plonk your heels onto the palms of your hands. I'm not sure how well you can see this. You press your heels onto the palms of your hands, which are facing the ceiling. And then you lift the hips up off that block. If you have no block, lift your hips up and make them work. Now I'm trying to grab my heels because I'm trying to get this action. Now move the knees back towards the hips. Lift the chest towards your chin. Don't let the knees splay out. Very hard work on the thighs, and then release down. Lift your hips up off the block if you've got it. Draw the knees gently into your abdomen. Don't yank the legs in. Nice and gentle action. Bring your hands around your shins. Interlace the fingers. And relax. And now you're going to come into Shavasana for a few minutes. If you need to put something under your head, by all means get a little cushion supporting the head. Stretch the legs down and out. And just lie for a couple of minutes. Breathing deeply. Try to breathe smoothly and evenly through both nostrils. Relax the toes. Relax the fingertips, relax the shoulders, relax the legs. So when you're ready, bend your knees into your waist, roll over onto your right side, come up to sitting. I'm already up. If you watched it all the way through the end and not nipped off and cooked your dinner like someone did during the Zoom class last night, which I thought was very funny. I couldn't see them or anything, but you could hear this noise because they forgot to put themselves on mute, which is something, if you've done Zoom, you'll know what I mean. If you're not a Zoomer, you won't know what I mean. Okay, YouTubers, I hope that was beneficial in some ways. I hope you, what was it I was trying to say? The Lord of Yoga, it's to help us face our fears. Lord Shiva. So the warrior poses are to help us face our fears. So bearing that in mind, go forth, face your fears. Be, I suppose, stuck indoors for another who knows how many weeks. But I guess you learn a lot about yourself and whoever you're living with. And if you're living on your own, you even get to know more about yourself than you might have done already. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. And thank you, I really appreciate all the support and the feedback that you're giving me, whether it's the Zoom classes or the YouTube, because I'm not seeing you, it's very hard to know whether people are engaging with this or not. So for me, a little message every now and then just kind of lets me know, yeah, people want this, students want this. I shouldn't say people, because it's pretty much only opened up to students of mine or a few friends of mine who I do yoga with who are not in Kerry. So yeah, absolutely, by all means, let me know how you find them and whether you think they're any good. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sending a lot of messages at the moment because of having to send you links and so on and so forth. If you're messaged out, if you just don't want any more messages for now, absolutely let me know. I'll take you off the list, the group lists, because I've created groups. And I know myself, I don't particularly like being in groups. I don't join those WhatsApp groups. They get on my nerves really, because you end up getting a lot of useless information. So if you don't want to be in the group, I won't take any offence. If you send me a message going, please take me off the group, I don't want to see these messages coming through 3 or 4 times a day about Zoom and YouTube and all of this. And then when we're back to normal and back to class, I can put you back in it so that you know when class is starting and so on and so forth. Okay, that's it. Namaste. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Bye.